Everybody, my name is John DePietro.
And I'm Bob Zagami with the Camper Report Show.
Bob, this is the time of year when camping is starting to explode. It's right after the beginning of the spring season. Campers are everywhere, and I've got a great conversation with our folks from the National Park Service telling us all about the new features at the parks all across the country. Who are you going to be speaking with?
I've got a fun interview with Matt Foxcroft. Now, you may not recognize the Foxcroft, but you may recognize Matt's RV reviews. The guy's got 120,000 subscribers. The videos have been viewed 20 million times.
Hey, sounds like a fun show. Those stories and more coming up on this edition of
the Camper Report Show.
Stay right here, everybody. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the news segment of the Camper Report Show. My name is John DePietro, and along with Bob Zagami, we have all the news of the RV industry. And Bob, there's a recent story that appeared in a mainstream publication, Fortune magazine, about Winnebago. And you know, Winnebagos are primarily, or had been primarily, motorized products. But then the new top guy that they brought in, Mike Happy, said, we need to diversify a little bit. So he looked into towables, and today towables now outsell motorized at Winnebago for the first time ever. Can you talk a little bit about the history of that change?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting because a lot of people won't remember, but over 50 years ago when Winnebago first started, they actually made travel trailers way back then. Then they got John Hanson really concentrated on motorhomes, and they became a motorhome leader. And then back in 2011, they purchased Sunnybrook RV, which was a small trailer manufacturer out in Elkhart, and they started the climb and to build a force within the towables division of the RV industry. Then along the way, Mike Happy purchased Grand Design, one of the leading companies and fastest growing companies in the industry. And here they are today selling more towables than they are motorhomes. So it is a significant rise. And let's just say it's not your grandfather's Winnebago anymore. It's
not anymore. And again, you know what? They've got a boating division with Chris Craft, and also picked up a luxury RV division, luxury motorized division with Newmar. So right. Diversification is certainly the name of the game at Winnebago. Now, another interesting story, again, it's a mainstream media story, is that RVs can't be produced fast enough, at least out in the Elkhart area, to meet the demands of RV newbies all over the United States. And it's very significant that one of the groups that make up a large part of the production capability in the RV industry in that central Indiana area are the Amish folks. Now, if you know anything about the Amish folks, you know that they don't drive cars, and they really only travel by train, bicycle, or horse and buggy.
Buggy, right.
Right, exactly. So
right.
With the pandemic and the vaccination issue, the Amish are having trouble as a group of people getting registered to get vaccinated. Number one, because most of the registration is by telephone or online, which are both of them are forbidden within their culture. So talk a little bit about, Bob, about the impact on the Amish, that the Amish have on the RV industry in central Indiana.
Well, you know, it's probably hard to find a manufacturer in that Elkhart, Goshen, Napanee area that doesn't have some Amish people among their workforce. They are detailed. They great wood craftsmanship. So a lot of them use in the cabinet shops that make their own cabinets, or the companies that make cabinets that supply to the RV industry. It's really a critical part of the industry itself in terms of the total workforce. So among the other issues that the pandemic has brought to the RV industry and to manufacturers, not having the Amish workforce or being reduced with the number of Amish that you have in the plant every day is an issue. And it's not just an issue for the OEM manufacturers. There are many supplier component companies who have large bases of Amish population in their workforce, and that's slowing down on the component side. So we're still seeing some slowdowns on the components getting in there, and the manufacturers being able to meet the demands of the RV dealers around the country.
Right. And Elkhart County and the state are doing their best to try to meet the needs of that specific Amish population. So that's good news, is that action is being taken.
Sure.
You know, good news, when you equate good news with camping, they're kind of one and the same. And you got a note from our friend, Jennifer Mercer. Talk about the note that you got and the inclusion in that content.
Yeah, she sent me a collateral piece that they're going to be pushing out today, because while we're taping today and it's going to air tomorrow, today is National Health Day, and it talks about the top 10 health benefits of camping. And I think if you polled the campers and the friends and family that go camping, you could probably add another 100 items to this. But let's just take a few of them. Why don't you give me your top 3 from the list? Well, because the mental health is important.
Let's tell our friends, first of all, that Jennifer Mercer is from Care Camps, which provides camping opportunities for ill children. So let people know that. Now, it's ironic that today and this week is National Health Day, because just yesterday was National Beer Day, and prior to that was National Deep Dish Pizza Day. So after involving ourselves with deep dish pizza and beer, we've come to think, well, we've got to be a little bit more healthy. So
we put all the calories on. So today's the one day that we think about getting rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. The one day, because then we'll probably be on National Ice Cream Day tomorrow. But nevertheless, there are top 10 health benefits of camping. Here's one that comes to mind with me: reduced stress and reduced anxiety. When we pull into a campground, even, you know what, Bob? Even if we're driving on a crowded highway to go camping somewhere up in Maine or Vermont, New Hampshire, or whatever, the stress level's down a little bit, because you know that in a few hour period, you're going to be on the campground, you're going to smell the campfire, you're going to smell the pine trees, and that stress and anxiety is reduced. How about you?
There's no question about it. You know, we've got the Park Model RV up in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, and when we go over the bridge from New Hampshire into Maine, you just feel the stress and the pressure going off you, because you know you're within an hour of being at the Park Model and relaxing out on the deck in the sunshine, or walking on the beach down at Old Orchard Beach. So no question. Yep.
Okay.
I agree with that one.
What's your tip?
My tip is time to regenerate and refocus. It's kind of a little bit related to that, but I also find that when I'm camping and I'm up in the Park Model, I don't spend as much time working on, and I spend a lot of time on the computer, but I don't spend as much time up there, and I tend to do it in a more relaxing environment. When you're home, you're at the office and the desk. When you're up there, you're sitting out on the deck with a nice adult beverage, getting the breeze off of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. And here's another thing, and we say this all the time, one of the health benefits: better sleep. And I don't care whether you're in a pop-up, a tent, a 45-foot diesel pusher. When you're in a campground, there's something about the environment that makes you sleep better. And it's, you know what? You sleep soundly all night long. And I think that's pretty cool. How about you with the tips?
Yeah, couple that with the sunshine and the fresh air. I mean, it's just, I walk more when I'm up there. I walk around the campground. I talk to other people, but it's not the pressure. It's, you know what? You're not talking about the headlines or the garbage that you see on TV, or, all the bad news. You're talking about the good news. You're out in the fresh air, the sunshine, you're having a casual conversation, and it's a different topic, and it, like, in and of itself, makes you feel better.
Yeah. And like you said, another tip: increased physical activity. Now, some people may say that the only physical activity that you get when you're camping is taking the recliner, the chaise lounge, and the lawn chair out of the back of the RV and putting it so that you can sit next to the awning all day long. But the fact is, when I camp, we don't want a spot that's right next to the office, right next to the restrooms, right next to the pool. We always ask to be put away a little bit, to be put away. People have put us away a lot.
Yeah, I've wanted to put you away a few times.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole point is, if you're parked at another part of the campground, you're forced to walk. And really, when you walk, it's not like it's a brisk walk for 30 minutes, because you walk for 20 seconds and then you talk to the people at the next campsite. Then you walk another 20 seconds and the person that's walking the dog goes by you and you talk with them. But increased physical activity is another one. I know you had another tip before we go.
Greater happiness and improved mood. And speaking for myself, I know that I am in a better mood. I am happier. I'm more relaxed. As you said, I walk the dogs all around the campground. I walk more in Maine in the summer than I do back here in Massachusetts in the winter. So that puts you in a better mood. And again, it's just so relaxing. So these are really great tips. The top 10 health benefits of camping, and we'll put a link to it down below. And we thank Jennifer Mercer of Care Camps for bringing it to our attention, because she deals with happiness and making kids happy and changing their moods and getting them out in the campground also.
Exactly. And, one thing that we want to say is that maybe our viewers have a tip that they have, one of these health benefits of camping. And if you do, folks, write down in the comment section on YouTube here, type in your tip, and, we'll be able to read it in an upcoming episode of the Camper Report Show. And Bob, that background that you have right there, I think you're in the great state of Maine. Is there some significance to that background?
There is a lot of significance. That is Lee's Family Trailer Sales in Windham, Maine, one of the top dealers in the country, who today is going to be hoisting the gigantic Camping World flag and the Camping World sign outside as they sign the paperwork, and it's going to become Camping World of Maine. So congratulations to Dan Craffey and his crew up there. They've done an incredible job since he's owned it the last 3 or 4 years, and we now have a Camping World in Maine.
And there you go. So that's a wrap on the news. Stay with us. We've got some great stories coming up on this edition of
the Camper Report Show.
I'm Jesse from Outsiders Calling, and I love adventurous family travel with my wife Jenny and our son Tucker.
For over 3 years, we've RV'd across the U.S. and Mexico, and it's tough to find places that meet all our needs.
Now we plan our trips with the RV Trip Wizard, pull it up in the RV Life app, select it, and go.
It helps us discover amazing new places to grow together as a family.
RV Trip Wizard with the RV Life app is an awesome trip planning combination.
You can get both for one low annual price. Check out rvlife.com to learn more.
Hey everybody, my name is John DePietro, and welcome to this segment of the Camper Report Show. And today we've got a couple of guests with us from the National Park Service, because that is the place that represents the great national parks all across the United States. And we want to welcome here today, we've got Tamara with us and we've got Krista with us. And you can see one of these persons is an outdoor lady. She's just stopped a white water rafting just a little bit here for the show. Tamara, welcome. And Krista, you're in much more of a domesticated place there. You're in an office somewhere with the headset on. But thank you so much for joining us. And let me ask you this, if you would kindly just give us 30-second background of yourselves as to where you're from and how you got to this position, and how long you've been with the National Park Service.
Sure, I'm happy to start and just say thank you, John, for having us and hosting us on this show. Happy to be here. A little bit about me. I've been with the National Park Service for about 11 years now. Worked in a couple of parks. And currently working in the National Washington, D.C. office for the National Park Service. And I'm the National Program Manager for Outdoor Recreation. So worked on a variety of topics, including transportation planning and outdoor recreation. So a little bit of everything working in National Park. And really my passion with working with the National Park Service is the mission, which I think, most employees would say is that the mission of the National Park Service, and we get to live and work in the most beautiful places. So that's a little bit about me. And Tamara, let's you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Krista, and thanks, John, for having us. I appreciate being here. My name is Tamara Delaplane, and I am a project manager with the Denver Service Center, which is a service office in the Denver metro area that assists all parks across the system. I am a licensed landscape architect. That's my background, and I spent about 20 years in the private sector before I got lucky enough to be hired on into the National Park Service about 11 years ago.
Well, that's great. Thank you for giving us the background. You know, when we do these interviews with people, one of the questions that always pops up later is they say, well, I wish I knew that the speaker that you were the person that you were interviewing, I wish I knew their background. So I always try to let people know where they come from, because people think that in order to do any kind of job, you should always, you know, have always done it right from college preparation. And I think, Tamara, in your case, you moved from the public sector, from the private sector to the public sector.
Yes, I did.
Exactly. So the question of national parks always comes up about how many are there and where are they located? Go ahead, you guys, you figure it out. Who wants to talk first?
Krista's going to take this one.
Sure, happy to. The number changes pretty frequently, you know, increases, but right now, currently there are 423 national parks across the U.S., and that encompasses about 85 million acres of some of the most beautiful places with significant cultural or environmental or historical history across the country. So yeah, and there's a variety of parks out there, not just with the designation of national park, like Yellowstone National Park, but we also have Gateway National Recreation Area in New York. We have Big Cypress National Preserve in South Florida. Another park that I'm familiar with and worked in is San Antonio Missions National Historical Park, and we have Gettysburg National Battlefield. So there's a variety of designations and a variety of parks out there. Tamara, did I miss anything? Do you want to add anything?
So John asked about locations. I'll add on to that part. So there are National Park Service units across the entire United States.
From sea to shining sea.
Also in Hawaii, Alaska, the San Juan Islands. We have partner units in Guam. So all over the United States. We have urban units in Philadelphia, Gateway that Krista referenced. We also have very rural places like Lava Beds National Memorial. So really do some exploration on the internet, and you'll find all kinds of places you never even knew existed.
Okay, so I guess the real thing here is advanced planning, because there's such a wide variety of parks. And, you know, people say, oh, I want to see 20 parks in 2-week vacation. That's really not possible, right? But where are the best places to look for information about the parks? And if you want to zero down on a certain park, like say you're in the Northeast and you want to find out all you can about Acadia, where are the best places to go for background information?
So I'll take that one. You can do a lot of research on the internet. Each park unit has its own website. There's also an overarching website for the whole National Park Service. That's nps.gov, G-O-V. So you can go to each park individually, or you could start at that broader site and kind of navigate around. If you're looking specifically for camping information, you can use the camping page on the nps.gov website. You can also use our new app that we've released that's available for Android and iPhone, or you can check out recreation.gov if you're looking for specific campground reservations. And I do want to note that recreation.gov has reservations for some campgrounds, but not all. It really just depends on the individual park.
And you know what? I'm hearing more and more that more people get their information now, especially the people that have gone full-time in an RV, or the new group, the vanners, the people that are buying these old FedEx vans and hitting the road with them after they throw some mattresses and some paneling on. You know, it's kind of like the hippies from the 80s where you see Cheech and Chong going down the road. But can you see an app? Can you see, how about an NPS app? Is there content available on the phone that people can pick up?
There is. We have a new app that you can download off of Google Play or Apple. There's both Apple and Android versions, and you can search in that app by activity, and one of the activities you can use is camping.
Okay. So when we say camping, Krista, I'm going to throw a hardball at you. Okay. Question that we didn't pre-rehearse. Camping means so many things to different people, but the parks really offer everything from tenting to RV parks with hookups. What is the, percentages? What are the numbers like as far as tenters versus motorized camping?
So as far as the percentages go, comparing the two, I'll let Tamara answer that. But before I pass that to her, there are 423 national parks out there, right? And about 150 of them offer some form of camping opportunity. But all national parks really provide some form of outdoor recreation. So I just really wanted to emphasize that if a national park doesn't provide, camping or facilities for RVs, to explore and look around at, facilities that may be nearby so that you can always come and experience the national park, whether it's, an urban park or a more remote park. There's a variety of experiences out there as far as outdoor recreation opportunities. So, but as far as the difference, the percentages of difference between tent camping or RV camping, I'll let Tamara tackle that question.
Yeah, so I don't have actual numbers, but what I can share is we have more than 36 campgrounds with electrical hookups throughout the system. There's over 400 campgrounds with water stations, over 130 campgrounds where you can get a hot shower, around 30 campgrounds with Wi-Fi, although that's changing all the time. And so really to understand what you're going to get at each location, we'll just re-emphasize to check out that advanced planning, to look on those individual park sites so that you know what's available and what even might be the limitations on roadsides or road size or site size, depending on what kind of vehicle you have.
What have you found that the biggest question is that when people are just exploring or discovering the parks the first time, what has history shown that their biggest misconception of the parks is? That they can get to so many at once? Or has anybody ever tried to do 25 parks in a summer? Or
I'm sure somebody's tried it.
Somebody's tried it. Probably not the smartest thing to do because, right? I mean, with Yellowstone, let's use Yellowstone because it's the name that comes up the most. It's so big that you could really spend a considerable amount of time there, right, ladies?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You could spend weeks in Yellowstone.
And that's probably the popular name, but Krista, there's probably parks that you might be aware of that are hidden gems, would you say?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that, if national park is in the title, then that's, the only national park sites within the system. And so just really want to highlight that there are, other designations out there, that are national park sites. And, like I mentioned earlier, Gettysburg National Battlefield or a preserve or a recreation area, if it includes that title, it is within the national park system. And so, I think we have definitely what's known as more popular parks, and the NPS, the National Park Service, does measure visitation in most of our parks. And so that's how we really determine which ones are more popular. So, and some of the more popular ones include, Yellowstone and Grand Canyon, but also Great Smoky Mountains. And so, but there's a lot of other great national parks out there that we really recommend visiting, and really recommend exploring other sites out there that, are probably the lesser known parks. And especially, now during COVID, when we're really implementing more social distancing procedures and requirements and mask wearing requirements in public lands and national parks, to really explore those lesser known parks so that we can kind of prevent any crowding.
Glad you brought up Great Smoky Mountains because that's the area that we're looking at this year. We did Grand Canyon several years ago. We did Yellowstone, and finally remember that we stayed at Jackson Hole. And again, we're in New England, so we've done Acadia. But let me ask you one final question, ladies. As far as entry fees and passes, I know there's a lifetime pass, there's an annual pass, and my guess is that if you don't qualify for either of those or want to buy either of those, you can do a la carte and pay as you go. Is that right?
That's right. Some of our national parks do have an entrance fee. Again, just highlighting, plan ahead, and go to the park website or give them a call to ask what the entrance fee is. The fee structure really varies park to park, but the other option is the America the Beautiful Pass, which is $80 a year, or, there's a veterans pass, a military pass, and sorry, it's left me, but there's a variety of passes that are out there to choose from. And even some of these passes are no charge to those that might meet eligibility requirements. And so definitely explore what's out there to come and visit the national park. And some parks are free. So just wanted to put that out there as well, that not all parks charge an entrance fee.
Right. Tamara, final thoughts as we wrap up?
So I just want to add on to what Krista was just sharing. Many of our smaller, less known parks are absolutely free. They don't all have campgrounds, but some of them do. And you're probably able to find some camping accommodations outside the parks that you can explore it. So I definitely, again, recommend exploring the app or the website and seek out some areas you might not have known about.
So that's great. We want to thank you so much for taking time from your busy day to join with us, folks. And we will put down the addresses, the URLs of the places that they mentioned where you can get further information. So Krista and Tamara, thank you so much. And we want to let our viewers know that they're watching the Camper Report Show, and stay with us. We'll be back with more right after this.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys.
Mike from RV Blogger here. Did you know that every trip that you plan in RV Trip Wizard automatically uploads into the GPS in the RV Life app on your phone? Just click the RV Life app, click the hamburger on the bottom, go to RV Trip Wizard. Your trips all populate. Pick the one you want, and then click the directions to the first campground. Click your RV friendly directions, and you're on your way from where you are to the campground where you want to be.
Okay, welcome back everybody to the Camper Report Show. And today I've got a special guest, Matt Foxcroft. And you may know him not as Matt Foxcroft, but you may know him as Matt's RV Reviews. And Matt, I've been following for a long time, and pleasure having you on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got this crazy gig.
Thank you. So thank you for having me. My name is Matt from Matt's RV Reviews, and I am a salesman for General RV Center in Florida. And I have my YouTube show where my wife and we go around to all different types of motorhomes, and we just review it in a different way. We make it light and fun, and what I think we do different is every single RV review, we give 3 things we love about that motorhome and 3 things that we don't like about it.
and that's okay. I think that's the honest, informal way that you present it that makes it so attractive to people. And you've done amazingly well in the 6 years that you've been doing it. But really, you told me in the last year and a half, it's really taken off, and your numbers are staggering. But tell us how you got into the business to begin with, because I don't think we have many RV salespeople that used to sell beers for a World Series team.
Yes, thank you. So I was a beer vendor for the Washington Nationals for about 10 years. And believe it or not, I've always wanted to sell cars, but I was never willing to give up the Nationals because it was so much fun being in the stands and being in the crowd, hawking cold beers. And I kept driving by this dealership in Maryland. And one day I Googled them, and I'm like, hey, they close at 6 o'clock and I can make it to Nats Park in about 45 minutes. And I said, I wonder if I could, negotiate with them, which I was able to, And days we had Nationals home games, I was allowed to leave the dealership at 5:30. So here I am. I got a chance to sell vehicles, which ended up being RVs, and still work for the Washington Nationals. And that's how I got into RV sales. And then I started this YouTube channel about 4 years ago, and it built up pretty big. And I knew I had to come to Florida because this is RV capital of the world. And so my very last day at work was Game 5 of the World Series for the Washington Nationals, and for my beer vending job. And then my family and we moved the very next day, and we came down to Florida, where I started working for General RV. And when I came down here, I had about 8,000 to 10,000 subscribers. I was really happy with that. But I knew with a dealership like General RV, with their different inventory selection, I could make the channel bigger, which we did. And we went in a year and a half, we went from 10,000 subscribers to 120,000 subscribers. And now we have 3 YouTube channels. We have Matt's RV Reviews for motorhomes, Matt's RV Reviews Towables for travel trailers and fifth wheels, and then Matt's RV Reviews Shorts, which is cell phone format videos.
Yeah, that's a great track record.
Thank you.
Having 120,000 subscribers. Now, I'm not sure that the folks in Elkhart would like you saying that Florida is the RV capital of the world, but if you keep selling RVs and you keep growing your channel, you may get it to move from Elkhart to Florida. Whereabouts?
Right.
Now, which?
So I'm in the Tampa area, an area called Wesley Chapel, but I work at both General stores in Tampa and the Ocala store. So the Tampa store, that's where all the action is. You got Lazy Days down the street, RV1, you got all the action there. But the Ocala store, there's more brands of inventory, a better variety. So I like to work at both.
That's interesting. Talk about the number of views that you have. Not only do you have 120,000 subscribers and growing quickly, but you also have quite a few number of views. People really stay with it.
Yeah, so last year, I just looked at the number the other day. We hit about 20 million views. It's kind of cool.
What take it to your sales perspective. What do you like most about selling RVs?
Well, I love that. I love that rush that you get when you help somebody find the right camper. And this, if you're in sales, it really doesn't matter about how much money you made on the sale. It's, you get that same feeling when you sell a $10,000 camper to a $400,000 diesel pusher. Just that excitement of finding the right unit for the customer. That's what I loved about the sales part. But actually, I'm not even doing sales anymore, just because, I did something silly. I put my cell phone number on my YouTube channel, and it worked for a while, when we were at 10, 25,000 subscribers. But when you do that and you hit, 10 million, 20 million views, your phone starts ringing a lot more. And General, they now pay me just to make videos, and I have a sales team under me to help with the sales process. So I'm still involved. I'm still at all the RV shows that we go to, but I'm just not the one negotiating, doing the paperwork and walking people through the process. Cause it's not like it's swipe a credit card and there you go. It's a process, and it'd be unfair for the customer if I was doing that, because I forget a lot of stuff, and it's better to pair them up with somebody so they have a better experience after the sales part.
And you are a very busy man.
Yep.
So if you
I got 3 cell phones here.
and the GoPro
just
camera.
rings and rings.
And the GoPro camera. Show me a camera and talk about the technology. That's what's amazing. Talk about how you actually
this is my production crew. So we were talking earlier. so many people, everybody always asks questions about how to get started on YouTube and how to do it. And people go out and buy expensive camera equipment. And this is just what we use. It's my wife and I and a GoPro. Or for my second channel, it's my friend Will and myself and this one GoPro. And it's funny because with our channel size, we have more subscribers than every RV dealership in the country. I mean, we have more subscribers than General RV does, because it's Matt's RV Reviews, and General does have their own YouTube channel. And it's funny to go to the RV shows and to see these dealerships with $10 and $20 and $30,000 worth of equipment. And they have the 4 guys, they have the audio guys and the gimbals for the stabilization. And it's just me, my wife, and a GoPro,
That's a great tagline. You could put that on your shirts, Matt. Me, my wife, and my GoPro.
Yep, that's it. I mean, it's not. Listen, I like to tell people we're not Steven Spielberg. We're not making an action film. We're just doing an RV review.
So, having sold many RVs and having done a lot of reviews, and I don't want a product name, but what product category intrigues you the most, that if you were going to go out and buy an RV, what type would you buy?
Right. So my personal preference is the Class C's. It's a great way to get in a motorhome. I'm a motorhome guy. I like motorhomes. That's my main focus. The Towables channel is kind of secondary. But I like Class C's. For me, I mean, I think it comes to me being a salesperson. When you cross $100,000, it gets really hard to get approved, let alone $200,000, let alone, every threshold. And it's like, where Class C's, I don't want to say everybody gets approved, but the average people get approved on Class C's, where you need to be a little bit above average to get the Class A's or the diesels, So I'm a Class C type of guy.
And that is one of the more popular types of RVs because it fills a lot of roles, whether you're a family or a couple or, just a single person. I mean, there's a lot of single women, a lot of single guys that go out there and travel with us. So it is a very popular one. So now you've had this great success that you've earned, that you figured out a little niche. You were very successful at it.
Thank you.
Are you going to rest on your laurels, or is there something else in the future that Matt's?
Oh, no. We speed up. So the third channel that I just told you about, on the short cell phones, it's vertical cell phone content. We actually just started that. And so we're now going to be heavy on that on Instagram and on TikTok, just 60-second short videos. And what we're going to do is we're going to repurpose it. So I was telling my friend about this. When I do a video on a Coachman Sports Coach 339DS, I can only do one of those a year because it's the 2021 Sports Coach. Whereas I can't make another video on that until 2022. Whereas on the cell phone, on the Instagram and the TikTok, since they're 60 seconds long, every time a sports coach comes in, that's a different exterior color or a different interior color. You take 60 seconds and then you shoot the video, and it's not spammy, if that makes sense, Whereas if I did a whole 25-minute review just because there was an exterior color change, that's not right, to make people watch that whole thing again. I
think that's a terrific strategy, because the one thing that people do love about RVs, and the reason that they trade them in so often, is they want the latest and the greatest toys and technology. So if that unit didn't have a dishwasher this year and it comes in next year with a dishwasher, bingo, you got another video. It's got a different TV or different satellite antenna. So you've just expanded your product offerings and the types of things that you can deliver to people shorter,
Yeah.
quicker, and faster. So I think that's brilliant. I don't think you'll ever slow down, Matt. Our guest today has been on the Camper Report Show has been Matt Foxcroft. I'm just tired after going through 10 minutes with you. I may have to go take a nap. But thank you very much for joining us, Matt. And any last words of wisdom for our fans?
Yeah, thank you so much. I do want to add one more thing for the following step. The following step. And so if there's anybody who watches this show, reach out to me. We want to go to Europe, China, Japan, and Australia. If anybody's in that market, because we want to review your RVs.
Okay, we got to get you over to Dusseldorf in September for Caravan Salon, the world's largest area. You and I will talk about that one off screen. Matt, thank you very much for joining us today, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Thank you so much.